Welcome to Gray Overload. I'm Anthony, and let's talk about gaming stores. Game stores have been one place now where we've kind of transitioned to buy games. I remember a day where I was going to a store to buy games on a physical media that then I could install on my computer, and you'd get patches over time and basically pretty much worked out of the box. However, now today there's a lot of games, especially with these brand new ones, where you buy the game and then there's all of a sudden like a 50 gig patch if you have the disc, just to be able to play it. So what's the usefulness of buying a disc if I have to go download a 50 gig update right away, right on day one before I can even play the game? So now game stores will have a lot of preloading. Now on the Xbox and your consoles, the PlayStation and Nintendo, it's pretty much, yeah, they have their own game stores. You know, the discs are there for their systems, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, there's some stores that sell CD keys, but yeah, there's not really too much competition there besides console versus console. But on the PC side, there's a lot of different options. Now, we've had a new one enter the market here with Epic Game Store in the past little bit, but we've also had Steam as well for many, many years. I have a lot of games on Steam. There's also GOG, or Good Old Games, and I've started purchasing some stuff from there. There's some things I really like about this. And then we also have, you know, same CD stuff. I mean, Microsoft's been trying to crack in this space for a long time. The Microsoft Store is now the newest place, but they used to have games for Windows. And, well, let's just put it, Microsoft, you have to really improve the store, get a dedicated, you know, gaming side thing, and not just all the mobile side games as well, but some really, you know, AAA titles, you know, or indie games that people, you know, download already. But then we also have the game stores of, you know, Ubisoft, Bethesda, or Origin. You know, there's that game store. There's a whole bunch of them. And a lot of times you need these game stores just to go on and play the game. And that is just annoying. In my opinion, that's very annoying, very inefficient. It just kind of, there's a lot of installers on your computer, right? You got to keep all these things up to date and make sure that they're up to date, so you don't just happen to launch a game and then it says, oh, you got to update this, update that. And, you know, on my main desktop, which I do all my, you know, rendering of videos and everything else, they pretty much run all the time, and just so that they can stay up to date. So if I want to come on and play a game, I don't have to wait 10-15 minutes. Now, I have a friend that he plays a lot more games than I do, a few of them, but, you know, he's mostly almost always up to date because he likes to go in and play. And one thing, though, to also keep in mind is as games keep getting bigger and bigger, are we going to need bigger and bigger drives just to be able to have most of our game library on here to be able to play it or pull it down? Yes, internet speed is getting better, but as games get bigger and bigger, you still have to wait quite a while to get games down. Now, I live in an area where I have okay internet speed, not the fastest in the world, but it seems to work most of the time, and I've been glad that it's been working this well here lately. However, like if I was going up to my parents and I want to download something, I'm waiting all night, easily, at least maybe all day, depending on how big the game is. And to me, with the new Epic Game Store and Steam, that's really what it comes down to, because between those two right now, like Good Old Games, I like to buy a lot of the games from there, and I'll get into that in a little bit here. But between Steam and Epic Game Store, it's basically right now who's got the exclusive and when does it become on both of them, or, you know, a lot of stuff like that. Like we've had a lot of issues here between the Epic Game Store and Steam that have kind of really fueled, because one, you know, games were on Steam and all of a sudden they were taken away and moved to Epic's for an exclusive period of time, which I guess an exclusivity to me doesn't mean that isn't horrible as long as it goes back to another store eventually, or comes to other stores. However, the way it kind of was done was kind of a horrible move from my point of view, is that you can't go through, because it was, what was it, the new Metro game, right? It was already on Steam. Pre-orders had already been going on Steam, and then the exclusivity went to Epic Games right before, you know, release, right? And that is just uncalled for. Like, if you're going to announce it right away, I can see that. Now, there's issues probably with, you know, some issues with either store either way, right? Steam has, you know, a huge cut off of developers, 30%, but Epic Games is, I believe, 12%. So there's a lot more money going towards the developer there, or the developer could even lower price of games to have it a little bit cheaper for people to go in and buy those. But then there's also a review system. How are review systems going to be handled on Epic Game Stores? Now, reviews are big. I'm to the point where I don't pre-order games anymore. I wait till they release, see how good they are, because it's kind of annoying. One, I got a huge backlog of games, but it's also very annoying when the game comes out and it's buggy and we're waiting for the game to really be completed in order to us to really play it. And so hopefully that review systems, I believe review systems have to be kind of more third party. Now, it's great to have a store to have review systems so people can review those, but one thing with Steam now, with all this review bombing because exclusivities and everything else, Steam has something where if it's like a negative thing where a whole bunch of negative reviews or whatever they're pausing that, and it's really for the publishers and developers to have good press, and it doesn't, so that those negatives don't actually affect the score of the game. And I've heard this from somebody else, to the Quartering, if you ever check out his YouTube channel, and he had a great point there where you should also have like a publisher score. So if a publisher does something that people don't really agree with, like having exclusivity on just a store for a period of time, that they can go review that publisher. And I think that's a much better option. So you can see the game score, because the game might be great, right? And that should have its own store, and then a publisher should also have it. But I think reviews, not just from the stores themselves, but a lot of these, independent outlets that want to create gaming reviews should go through and prop that game up, so we as consumers have a place to go look without it being filtered. Now, I do think that Epic Game Store should kind of clean up and get some more features, kind of like Steam has with reviews and everything else. And I think Steam should also keep those reviews more open and maybe just create a publisher review side like the Quartering suggested, because I think that would be a great option for users like me, where the game's got a great store. Why does the publisher so bad? And then we can look into it. But getting to GOG, one reason why I'm really liking GOG, I've been introduced to it in the past year and actually buying more games from it. Some games I even have on Steam, because one thing I like is being able to own the game, right? If Steam doesn't start up or anything and does the server check and everything else, or Ubisoft games, right, they need to have that Uplay check or anything like that, all of a sudden you're stuck. You're not playing the game. I think there's a period of time you have that you can play without an internet connection, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. Or you got a really slow one, like my parents are unreliable, and you like to play a game, but you're unable to. So this is one way I think that in the past we used to go buy our media and then we'd have it. But with good old games, you can actually have a DRM-free version. You download that installer file, keep it on site, or something in your possession. You can then just go install that game and play it. And if you want like a retro gaming box or something like that, that's not going to be connected to the network, like Windows XP or something here, or just a box that you don't want to connect to the internet, you just have it like a dedicated gaming box done, and you can install those and play them. So there are options with GOG that really have it, and I've been trying to go through and make sure, like, if there's something I want, I check with GOG first to make sure I'm supporting them. So hopefully in the future we get more and more DRM free options, so that we can be more, I would say, kind of secure in being able to play our games in the future. I don't know if everything's fully future proof, but they do put, with GOG, they do put some effort into making some of these old games work with Windows 10, and I like that. It's just way easier. One click, get the game started, and you're off playing. And that's a little bit better than some of the jumping through hoops that we've had to do in the past. So with all these things, I think there's improvements, especially on the Epic Game Store, to kind of get it on parity with Steam. And I really do get why there's so much animosity towards Epic Games and everything else. We're having 1,000 different options to install. If it was just maybe Steam, Epic Games Store, or GOG, or you could just download those files, so you don't even need the GOG installer, downloader. But if it was just those, guess what? It's two things, right? It's not a huge deal. But when you have to add on top of it, the Uplays, the Origins, and everything else to be installed just to play certain games, that is when I think it gets kind of really annoying. And there needs to be a better option for gamers out there that maybe only want to buy from one store. Hopefully, if Epic Games gets on parity with Steam and they can push them in different areas, we can have a better experience as PC gamers to actually flourish, and have more choices, more price competitiveness, and we'll see how that goes going forward, because you just never know when something may just go away and now you're stuck either with or without your games. Hopefully that doesn't happen to either company here. I mean, Fortnite is raking in a lot of dough right now. Steam has been raking in dough as a game store for many, many years, and, their source engine and stuff. So there's been a lot out there, though. But one thing, that's been on my mind is these game stores and how they're not exactly user-friendly yet. We got some commenting areas that we need to work on. We got, the exclusivity of how it's even going to work. Game developers or / publishers pulling the game at the last second, aggravating gamers because now they can't. They already were thinking about getting it on that game store, and now all of a sudden it switches like that. If you're from the start and you say it's going to be on here exclusive for so long, that's fine. I don't have that many qualms about it, but realize that there might be some gamers that wait until it's on the other game store to buy it as well. So with that, I've used both of them. I think I only have like Steam, and I got my GOG games on my computer since I put the new SSDs in. Eventually I'm going to have to install more because I got games in all these stores. But, with Bethesda, they're all over the place. So Uplay, Origin. But I really wish there was a simpler, better way. Maybe somebody has an aggregator that they could create and kind of keep track of where all your games are. Who knows? But, when you have to install stuff just to be able to connect and play the game, that's when it gets annoying to me. And, yeah, so let me know what your thoughts are on this whole gaming store thing. I know that people are heated about it, and I do understand it gets annoying. I mean, one thing I don't like to do is always have to log into stuff just to be able to play a game. When I want to sit down, I want to play the game. So let me know what your thoughts are. Let's have a discussion in the comments below. And until next time, I do want to thank you for subscribing, helping to support Gray Overload. I really appreciate it. I thank you for helping grow this channel. It has been awesome. You guys are great. And until next time, don't forget to like and subscribe.